just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the episode of Packer Up Boys. Do not forget the season preview. Biggest episode of the year is Monday, 3 p.m. We just recorded it yesterday. She was a long haul, but we managed to spend as much time as you could ever want on each team. I hope you guys enjoy it. And don't forget, also on Monday, 6 p.m., Bloke's biggest ever sale. That is right, 50 to 60% off everything, 6 p.m., everything must go. All shirts, $25 and under. All hats, $20 and under. Undies, $25 for the pack. And all jerseys will be $50 and under. On top of that, do not forget the Valentine's Day drop is available right now. This Valentine's, ditch the overpriced roses and get something your partner really wants. Some of the finest coffee beans and on Valentine's morning. That's right, starting today, we have a limited edition. It's not starting today, sorry, but it started last Monday. On Monday, we have started our limited edition Grumpy Valentine's pack. These are going to go fast, so make sure you get yours today, and then Valentine's Day is sorted. Get online at grumpycoffee.com.au and get in quick.
Just with the bloke sale, I forgot to add, there's going to be items and very, very limited amount of things that have just been sitting in our warehouse but have been off the website for possibly years.
So you might find some hectic stuff there.
You might find some gold there.
Yeah, because sometimes you leave extra sizes there.
I always, there's always a size.
Just in case there's returns or whatever.
So we're getting rid of, we're opening up to everything.
Okay. Tommy Bomb, he's back. How you going, brother?
Good, Campy. How are you?
I'm feeling good. Not looking good. I was about to say feeling good, looking good, but that's actually not the case.
I think you look all right.
Yeah, still a bit of candle fat on me. Still look like a melted candle.
Still melting, but that's
amazing. Yeah,
amazing.
still melting. Trying to melt the fat, actually. I found a new little... I'm going to Reborn Fitness. You know Reborn Fitness, carrying myself.
Yeah.
Shout out to the boys.
Yeah, okay.
Shout out to the boys and obviously the girls that go there too. It's not an all-boys gym. That would be a bit weird. I mean, look...
No, mix it up.
There are all-girls gyms, just saying. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to go to an all-boys gym.
No, I think it's important to have that energy of both.
I feel like I understand all girls gyms, for sure. I totally get that. All boys gyms, it's almost like, stop being a weirdo, bro.
Yeah, a bit Magoo.
Yeah, and I feel like, does feminine energy doesn't need masculine energy, but I do feel like masculine energy needs feminine in a gym.
You're dead right.
Just to balance her out.
When you're talking about Valentine's Day sales, have you started planning your Valentine's Day yet?
Yeah, I haven't started planning it yet. I tell you what, though, I'm more of a consistent operator. So, don't get me wrong, I mark the day that's special. Yeah. But my real strength is turning up each day, giving an 8 out of 10. If the missus, I'm not the kind of player I'm not a big game player. So, for example, out of 4 more year, gets picked for Origin, has a good game. That's not who I am in a relationship. I'm giving you 8 out of 10 every single week. I'm getting repeat sets. I'm completing high. Yes, every now and then when the game's on the line, you can give me the ball. However, I don't want the game to get to the point where it is on the line.
Yeah, you
just
want,
like my relationship.
13 plus.
I don't want it on the line. Yep. I want 13 plus stuff, squeeze them to death, 8 out of 10 operator. Yes, I'll acknowledge the day. Yes, but I feel like sometimes if you're going too big on the Valentine's days and the birthdays, you're compensating. Just saying.
So give us a few examples of your kicking the corners.
Kicking the corners. Listen, so basically I'll work all day, I work all day, get up. If work starts after a certain time, I always get up, get my boy up, my oldest son, let the wife sleep in.
Beautiful.
Cook him eggs every morning, get him prepared for the day, so that when my wife does wake up, she gets a bit of sleep in, obviously, because she's nursing our newborn. When she does wake up, it's all set to go. That's the 1%ers. You don't write home about that stuff, but you do that each day in, day out. Interest, it builds. And so, is that as flashy as a nice restaurant meal, in Barangaroo? No, it's not. But I tell you what, a lot of women listening, because a lot of women listen to this podcast, obviously.
I don't doubt it for a second.
They're sitting there going, I'll take the everyday breakfast made, son taken care of, hair done. I'll take that any day of the week over one day a year I get to go to Barangaroo with a good steak. Just saying.
Especially, just to that point, I mean, you can go to Barangaroo for a good steak. Yeah. If she hasn't slept in 4 days.
Exactly.
What good's a steak going to do?
Fall asleep at the bloody dinner table.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing for everyone.
Now you pay $4,500 for a steak that your poor wife's fallen asleep on. So no one needs that.
No one needs that. They're the little 1%ers. The other ones are always take care of Rain in regards to bathe him every night. I put him to sleep every night. These are all little 1%ers. They don't take cash out the pocket. They take time and love and care.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And look, you reckon Nathan Cleary isn't doing the 1%ers on the training paddock? You reckon he's not, out there last? All the little stuff that, they're not the big plays. They're the stuff that don't get the raps. They're not going to make the headlines, but that's why he won 4 in a row, baby.
Yeah, and I think those little plays do lead to the big plays, don't they? That's probably where you're going to get your missus saying, let's go to dinner because she's just frothing some time with you because you've been doing all those fundamentals.
But on the flip side of that, you do the 1%ers. When you do need to ask for a favour, like, I need you to have me back. I need you to tie in here. I've been stepped on the inside. You know, KO's called me up. I said, I need you over in Vegas in a couple of weeks. So you're getting stepped on the inside. If you haven't done the 1%ers and if you brung her with you, she can't make that tackle. She's going to say, listen, you don't do the 1%ers every single day. Now you're going away for 2 weeks. Whereas you do the 1%ers every single day. She said, of course you'd go away for 2 weeks to Vegas.
Oh, yeah. If you weren't doing those 1%ers, you would be in Ron Massey like that.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That. So.
Yeah, you're getting dropped.
Yeah.
You're getting dropped. Silent treatments, when you're at dinner, passive-aggressive remarks, pretty much just feeling like shit, but you don't really know what's going on. Because women are they are the queens of controlling the emotional environment of areas. And
Which is your ruck, right? That's your ruck. They're controlling that ruck. So.
That's the engine room.
Yeah.
That's the engine room. Listen, blokes are wingers. We like the glory. We like the attention. We don't control the rock sometimes when it comes to relationships.
And that's where you're revolutionising the game like a Brian Toto because you are bringing in those extras, that yardage.
Look, listen, I don't want to say I'm the first bloke ever to let his wife sleep in, but...
You might be.
Top three?
Reports.
First three, maybe? Two other blokes in history might have let their wife sleep in.
There's some pieces of shit out there. Like, you're not on the B-bus for nothing. So that's good stuff.
I'm a new age guy without being called a metrosexual. Let's just put it that way.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah,
really.
I'm new age, but I'm still,
Be still an alpha dog.
Yeah, I've got a bit of dog in me. I mean, it's a little chihuahua at the moment. Definitely not the warrior I used to be. I'll tell you that much fucking sure. It's just been ground down by life. But I tell you what, it's still there. It can come out when it needs to,
Love it.
So that's the Valentine's Day vibe. Now, it sounds like I'm making excuses for being lazy on Valentine's Day. You could read it that way. But that's a negative kind of attitude, and I don't want negative attitudes in this temple.
No, just full of hard workers. He's got 3 blokes just working their dicks off. That's all you can ask for.
Nigel Plum of relationships, that's all I am.
Yeah, fuck.
I'm straight within a fucking inch of my life, but I'm getting the job done.
I put up a Nigel Plum related post the other day, and Sowie commented, he's like Victor Tape or something, one of the tape companies. They went broke in 17 when he retired.
That's good rugby league humour, that.
He gets it.
Because you got to be deep in the game. Even the naming of Victor Tape, it wasn't even just tape, it was Victor Tape. And if you know Victor Tape, you're deep in the game then.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's very niche. And I always imagine, obviously I've seen Sowie on a few potties here and there post-retirement. We keep in touch. Close personal friend. I imagine him getting around day to day in his headgear still. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. I don't know how true that is, Sal. You'd have to vouch for us, but I imagine he's getting around in, and not any headgear. It's either the 2010 Dragons headgear, or it's when he kicked the field goal to break our hearts when he was at Penrith. You know what I mean? Okay. They're the only 2 headgears he gets around.
Is it the pink one there? Is that the pink one?
No, it was like a bluey sort of, like, the other Panthers colours essentially.
Mate, I'll tell you one of the all-time headgear calls, and it's been forgotten in the annals of time. It's a big word. If you read a book, you'll know what I'm talking about there.
Of course. So
it is the Reece Walsh decision to lose the headgear.
Wow. Yep.
You got to remember, Reece Walsh actually used to have a headgear coming through the grades, and I think even when he started playing, and he took it off, and what was revealed as one of the hottest faces in rugby league history.
Could you argue that the only reason he has one of the hottest faces in rugby league history is because he came through the grades wearing a headgear?
That's a good point. That's a good point. It might be the long eyelashes and the dazzling eyes, the cute smile, the beautiful skin. Could be those things, but also could be just because he didn't wear headgear.
Do you
wear headgear.
Do you remember like the headgear that they used to wear back in the 80s? I don't know what the brand was, but it was like a black one that was like really thick.
Oh, I think that was Steeden, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a Steeden headgear.
Yeah.
So like very rarely, when growing up playing footy, very rarely you would see a kid getting around in one of those. It was obviously his dad's old one, and every single one of them had zero ability.
You know what's hilarious about that? You know what's so funny about that? So when I was in grade, I would have been like 10 or something.
Yeah.
I got convinced to go play some footy. So I played 10 games, but it made South Coast, went to state. Because I didn't know anything about footy, I had one of those. This is even worse so. One of those headgears, I wore it, but I sprayed it gold because I love the colour gold. So I had a gold Steeden headgear like that, and I was just ripping blokes.
Oh, so you would have rocked up and they would have eyeballed you in your gold Steeden headgear, and they would have gone, mate, this bloke
who is
a
this
spot
guy?
Defender, and then you've just gassed them all.
Yeah, just absolutely. And so the gold headgear, I think it was because of the whole Renoff thing. So I've told the story before, but grandfather sitting in his knee watching Renoff, and I was just a big that was the only connection I had to rugby league was obviously Steve Renoff. So that was in grade 6. And I remember after that, like, you got to come down. It was actually Nerang, Reece Walsh's club. They tried to get me to go down and play. They're like, mate, you've got to come down and play club footy with us, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, stuff that. So then I obviously stayed with soccer. But yeah, gold headgear. Sprayed it myself too.
Brilliant.
Mate, even remember back in the day, it used to be cool to have like the widest shoes possible.
Yeah.
And so I used to have this like, basically used to like paint the shoes because like I couldn't just buy new shoes all the time. So there's like white etnies that anytime they got dirt, I would just like paint with this like, I don't know, shoe white paint or whatever. Yeah. And it got to the point where like they were like 3 years old, just cracked this shit, but they were really bright.
I heard a story that Robbie Farah had white boots coming through and like he would have debuted in 2002, 2003. Yeah. And Tim Sheens debuted him, but he said, you're not allowed to wear those white boots. You have to wear black boots.
Wow.
So, and he didn't want to break in new shoes. So he got his white boots and I'm pretty sure he just coloured them in with a texture.
No way.
And so if you look on his NRL debut, those are coloured in black.
Wow.
He just Sharpied.
It was either spray paint or Sharpie, but I'd like to think it was a Sharpie.
Yeah. Wow.
I was so desperate for, when I was obviously playing soccer growing up, I was so desperate for white shoes and, you know, we didn't have any money because I would always get hand-me-downs from my older brother.
Yeah.
Found, and it was, I think his name was Rivaldo. He played for Brazil and he had these like white Mizunos. I remember we for some reason, we were just like down at this soccer field training or whatever. And for some reason, someone had thrown out white Mizunos and you could barely get them in Australia. They were like these hectic boots. They were size too small, but I was so desperate. I got them out of the bin and I started wearing them for the rest of the season.
Far out.
Oh.
Good find.
Great
That's
find.
mad.
I mean, they killed my feet. They were literally too small, but I still wore them.
So you're a bit of an op shop guy.
I'm a get the job done guy. It doesn't matter where it comes from, just get it done, you know.
It plays into that metro vibe though, you know what I mean? You know those guys that go into like a op shop and come out with like a really nice design.
What happened to the metrosexual?
Let's bring it back.
Let's bring the metrosexual back. Because it used to be like a compliment.
Just Mizunos and a sweater and a dream.
And a pink singlet or something.
Yeah.
I think Cursor started dissing them.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I'm not hip on that
Oh,
side.
no, that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, but I do know back in the day, like, used to be like almost like compliment. Like, you're like this new age metrosexual guy that takes care of himself. So
That's how I take it.
bring it back.
Just want to be a sensitive new age physique model. That's all I want.
Are you a sensitive new age guy?
I try to be.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
You try to open the heart a bit, you know?
Yeah, you have to. You have to. However, like, there's different ways you can do that. It might be through music taste. It might be through movies. But like, I like what you said before about the fundamentals, just day to day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
1%ers.
Yeah. I think you got to find ways to. I think you're right. Masculine energy needs feminine energy.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more than feminine energy needs masculine energy.
Yeah.
As Kelly Clarkson speaks about in her song, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Shout out to her. I'm sure she's listening, so that's good.
Confirm black texter. I just looked it up then.
Excellent.
There you go. That's great.
Nice,
That's
Robbie.
rugby league. That's rugby league. Alrighty, guys. There is just so many updates with the Zac Lomax situation. So let's just get into it, shall we? I'm gonna have to read all this to you guys because it's wild. Okay.
And this is condensed.
Okay. So Zac Lomax, this is all reportedly attempted to backflip on his decision to leave Para as the decision was rebuffed by the suspicious Eels. Again, this is reported, guys. After Storm majority owner Matt Tripp blasted Para for their handling of the signing saga, a fresh report emerged saying that Lomax's agents raised the prospect of the Test star coming back to Para after his planned move to R360 fell through. Eels lawyer Arthur Moses also claimed that Lomax had entered into a contract with the Storm, which had been lodged in the NRL contracting portal prior to talks being held with the Eels over his future. Quote, Parramatta were clearly trying, this is from Tripp, sorry. Quote, Parramatta were clearly trying to free up cap space to get Jonah Pezzett, which they did by moving on Zac. This is Matt Tripp, the owner of the Storm. Quote, I engaged with Zac over the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas. And it wasn't until the new year that he agreed that if Para would release him, he would come to Melbourne, but only after trying to do the right thing by asking Para if they take him back. Quote, this is from Matt Tripp still, it's just not right. Every time we've made them an offer to resolve this matter, they've leaked it to the press and grandstanded by trying to make out we were being unreasonable. I think it's pretty unfair. Okay, there's that. 9 newspapers reported that Lomax handlers raised the prospect of him returning to the club that had only just released him in November last year. The Eels had no appetite to welcome Lomax back so soon after requesting a release, privately suspecting it was a cynical play that could be raised should the matter end up in court, as it now has. Informed sources also stated the prospect of the Storm taking another Parramatta player, Ryan Madison, in addition to Lomax, was also floated. The parties haven't struck an agreement. Speaking at the Supreme Court on Friday, Arthur Moses, who is the lawyer for the Eels, the barrister acting for the Eels, stated there was contact between Lomax's lawyer and 3 different clubs, Raiders, Storm, and Perth Bears. Raiders CEO responded, quote, "That's absolute bullshit. Nobody has spoken about him. He's never been mentioned." Raiders CEO Don Furner told Sydney Morning Herald, quote, "We haven't got any space in the cap and we're not looking for outside backs. I don't know how they can make that up. That's a lie, rubbish, absolutely 100% factually incorrect." Wow, wee woo. So much going on. I mean, obviously we've spoken about like the start of this quite a while ago now, so we've kind of given our opinion on that. Let's start with the Matt Tripp article. I was really surprised that he came out and even did the interview. I don't know what he was going to gain by doing it. Obviously, it's good to always have transparency. You know, I get all that. But I just have to, I just respectfully, strongly disagree with a lot of the stuff that he was kind of bringing up. Now, we haven't got it here, but can you please find it? Didn't Braithen Astor also put up in his story that the Pezzett thing happened after the Lomax thing?
I'll get it up, but yes, effectively.
He did. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I think Brave put it up, the idea that it happened after, the Jonah thing happened after anyway. But obviously, like, I don't know, there'd be people in the football department at Melbourne absolutely cringing, I reckon. Because, like, anyone that actually knows and has followed the game would understand that there is zero chance that Parramatta were going to let go a representative outside back who was arguably their best player, if not one of them, last year. 1 year into a 4-year deal to get a guy who is a reserve grade half with a lot of potential who was coming there for 12 months. That was never going to happen. And it just doesn't have any legs. So I think I get what you're saying about, like, coming out, transparency and controlling the narrative, but like, it's the worst narrative.
Oh, I can't understand as well, like, this idea that I guess they're being unfairly maligned in it all, when it's like, look, there's not a single soul in rugby league that begrudges Melbourne Storm inquiring and trying to go after Zac Lomax.
Of course not.
I just think it's like, and I know some Storm fans disagree with this, so I respect your opinion, but I just can't get around the fact the only reason they're in court is because of the pressure being mounted from the Melbourne Storm. If the Melbourne Storm came out and said, guys, we've made our offer, we're distancing ourselves from it, if you don't want to release him from that, okay, we walk away. The only reason they're in court is because they're trying to stop him from signing a contract with the Melbourne Storm, at least right now, to my understanding. And so I'm surprised at the amount of pressure the Storm are. So anyway, Tripp has come out and said that. The problem now for the Melbourne Storm, and look, they're ruthless. This is why, part of the reason why they're so great and why I respect them so much. I mean, if anyone's listened to this podcast for all these years, I always talk about how great the Storm are. And I still believe they're the greatest sporting organisation this country, at least in my lifetime, we've seen. I just think they're so incredible. However, the precedent now is set that essentially, especially with Matt Tripp coming out, if Tripp didn't come out, you could kind of shimmy around this a little bit. But he's come out and said they've made a reasonable offer and it's unfair what's happening. So essentially going forward, any player that wants to leave the Melbourne Storm, regardless of how good they are, whether it's international origin, you only have to offer them $200K and they should release that player immediately.
On principle, yeah.
Like, that's a crazy precedent to set. On top of all that, we've already spoken about the fact that Josh Adokar wanted to leave. They made him stay for an extra year. I think even Riles, when he left the club, he wasn't allowed to recruit any Storm players for 12 months. On top of all that, when Dave Donaghy went to the Broncos as CEO, he resigned from the Storm, went to the Broncos. The Storm threatened legal action and were trying to enforce a 6-month non-compete clause and say you couldn't start work at the Broncos for 6 more months. I know the Storm probably don't give a shit about how they look or whatever. They're about winning premierships, which is okay, fair enough. Like, at the end of the day, that's what they're here to do. But I just think they've kind of backed themselves into a... I do think there are some Storm fans out there that are sitting there probably begrudgingly saying, geez, if any player wants to leave our club now, if we don't want to be seen as hypocrites, we essentially have to let them go as soon as they want to leave if we get 200K or less. Like, what if a middle of the road player wants to leave? You can offer them 50K.
Yeah, I also think that at some point throughout this process, they've either acted based on facts they believe to be true that weren't, or that there was more to it that they didn't understand. Because, as you alluded to before, you only end up in court because obviously they've taken steps as if Zac is going to be playing for them, or that's going to happen. Or
well, that's what an injunction is. Yeah. Injunction is an immediate court order saying you cannot go and train for that club.
Yes, so he's obviously taken the steps which they're alleging in court at the moment, like you said, that there's a contract registered on that portal. I think that's the only reason why you end up there, and they probably should have gone through the process because, like, as we've spoken about before, Zac's got other options to play. He had Super Rugby contracts that were being floated about. He could walk in overseas and play union or league. Like, it's not a matter of his hands are tied here. It's obviously a very specific thing that he wants to play for the Melbourne Storm. But I think I still, the more this goes on, the more I respect Parramatta, because it's like, I think it is reasonable that they hold this out for as long as they want to. Like,
I just can't believe, like, this is the thanks the Eels get. Like, these weird implications of trying to be set up. Like, for example, the yarn about Lomax wanting to go back to the Eels. Spare me the bullshit. Spare me the bullshit. Even if he had a change of heart after leaving and came back and said, I wanted to come back to the Eels, why should the Eels ever have to take him back? He literally asked for a release. So now the Eels are getting painted as bad club because they won't take Lomax back, even though they've used his contract money. They've got Brian Kelly to the club. Now, granted, he's not on the same amount of money, but that spot's being taken. Brian Kelly, and also Bailey Simonson wasn't released. So the outside backs are sorted now. Why should the Eels why should it even be spoken about taking Zac Lomax back? Like, it's a bizarre argument to make, as if, like, well, you didn't want to take him back, so we should have him. It's like, no. He chose to leave. If this idea that they're in the wrong because they won't take him back, therefore everyone else he should be able to free to play somewhere else. It makes zero sense whatsoever. I don't even get that argument.
Yeah, I'm with you, to be honest, because I think what's funny about this is, like, you take the Matt Tripp thing, all the innuendo, all the bullshit, like, they're trying really hard to paint Parramatta a certain way. It's not going to work. Like, the longer this goes on, the more that Zac's personal brand gets damaged, the more that the Storm are implicated in it. I think Para has been consistent with their stance from the start. Like, it has not moved. They said, they outlined who they would consider to make this happen. Storm weren't willing to come to the party, which is their right. They're allowed to do that. They haven't changed. They agreed to terms with Zac at the time, and they're saying, well, it's reasonable for us, because in an ideal world, they probably don't have to move. What's crazy,
in all this noise, and I've even been guilty of forgetting this, the Eels aren't saying you can't play again. They're saying, we will let you play again. We just want something reasonable for it.
100%.
You know what I mean? So, like, they're even saying, we will let you play in the NRL again. So they're not even going a flat, no, you sign that contract, you're not playing again in the NRL. They're literally going, okay, you want to play NRL, we just want something reasonable for it. I cannot believe that, like, there's so many, I know, like, maybe the wider audience probably don't know this, but I promise you, there's so much unwritten rules in regards to the way clubs deal with each other. Like, okay, you help us here, we'll help you there. And I feel like this scenario has almost just completely blown it out of the water.
Yeah, and I think, in an ideal world, they probably would have ended up, and they understand the leverage that they have with Zac Lomax right now in terms of, if they had to lose Zac, which obviously at a certain point last year, whether it was when he was asking mid-year or whenever it eventuated, they were like, we're going to lose Zac. They're now in a position where that's happened. We've lost Zac, but we can potentially get someone else, that's going to better our chances. So I think that's more than reasonable. Like, all Para's asking is, Zac Lomax going to the Storm, it only improves their chances of winning a comp.
Yeah.
All we ask is that we get something in return that does the same for us. It's so reasonable.
And also, you got to remember, like, I know a lot of people don't see Eels as a premiership threat right now, but really, regardless of who you've got ranked where in the premiership, you're basically asking the Eels, so they've both got the same goal, which is win a comp. You're asking the Eels to go, here's this weapon for you guys to achieve the goal that we want to achieve.
And you lost the grand final last year. Like, you were a 2-on-1 away from winning the comp. Here's Zac Lomax. Like, obviously not. Like,
and also, why would you help the team that pretty much cost you the greatest grand final run of all time in 2009 because they were cheating the salary cap?
I never thought of that.
Like, fans don't forget that stuff.
No, fans don't forget that
I never thought of that. I hadn't even thought of that.
That's why I just, for the life of me, I just don't understand this crazy pressure from the Storm to make this happen. Like, I feel like, I just feel like they still could have got what they wanted, which is Lomax to the club, without this much pressure being applied, where they're about to be in court and get subpoenaed. Do you understand how much stuff is going to get leaked? Of conversations into the media. Do you understand how messy this is going to get? Like, when you get subpoenaed, you essentially have to give them like everything they ask for. Essentially, like, I'm obviously not a lawyer, but like, this is going to get so messy because there might be an email that says talking about Lomax, and then there's 2 paragraphs about all this other shit. That's probably going to have to get submitted because it has Lomax in the whole email,
and it'll become public knowledge. Yeah, I mean, I think.
Surely they pull out before that happens.
Well, how does this play out? Because like you're saying, they could get Lomax to the club, but like I don't think without going to court they could. And I think what's happened here is maybe they came in thinking, and again, I don't know. I'm just trying to put the pieces together, but maybe they thought, given that Riles, there's a relationship there, maybe for 200, 300 grand, like we can make this happen, and like the Eels have stood firmer than maybe they expected them to on it.
But what's crazy about that is like. At least reportedly, the guy that you think is going to work with you, you told him he can't recruit any Storm players for 12 months.
I know, it's double standard.
But then you're going to ask him to say, mate, give us... Like, I understand what you're saying in regards to there's no way they're going to get Lomax without the court case.
Yeah.
But it's like... they're not going to get him anyway, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
I agree. So I think what I'm saying is, though, like, I reckon they've walked down a road that they thought it would be resolved a lot quicker than this. There's then been some friction, and now it's at a point where they're so far in. Like, from their point of view, maybe it only makes sense to go all the way, and you either end up with Lomax or you don't. Like, the damage has been done essentially. So maybe
that's fair. Like the damage of the way people think about it. That's why when this all happened, I said as soon as the court case was going to get announced or whatever, I would have pulled back with the Storm. I said it when it all came about. I was like, pull away from it. It's not worth the reputation because like. Okay, let's say you're a manager, you got a young superstar at the Melbourne Storm, and for whatever reason, things aren't going well. Imagine the negative sentiment you could drum up about the Storm to get your player out of the club now.
Yeah.
Like, you could honestly you could make it an absolute circus at that club until you get that player out now because it's so salacious, the headlines that would be around. Let's say next year the young rising star wants to leave. Imagine how salacious the headlines would be. Imagine how many clicks it would get that a young guy wants to leave the Melbourne Storm now. Yeah.
I also like, as we've spoken about, I find like it goes without saying that Lomax is such a weapon.
Obviously.
He's a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
What gap is he going to fill that's worth this much trouble is the bit I don't understand. Like they've got Coates, they've got Warbrick down there.
Well, I guess
Pappy's just left, but even like Suafalongo's been waiting in the wings for a while now. You got a lot of good players, and as we spoke about before, I know that Lomax walks into their team straight away, of course. But for all this trouble, all this damage to brand, I don't know. Like,
I'm with you. In like, is he the like? I would say if they had the exact same team as last year, I could say, well, yeah, there is absolutely an argument he is worth 12 points, or at least he's worth 6 points in a grand final.
Of course, yeah.
But I understand what you're saying in regards to like, with all the players they've lost, is this enough to take that extra step? I think the Storm are probably just looking at it like, we get the best, whatever the best players are to get to this club, we're going to do whatever we can to do that kind of thing.
For sure, but just to walk it out one step further too, like I would get it if he was committed to going there for 6 years, and maybe his sentiment has changed. But given he was willing to go to R360, if that does end up getting off the ground, well, he might be there for 2 years.
The contract might still be the contract that he reportedly or allegedly may have signed with RC60. That actually might still be valid.
That's what we were saying before. Yeah, I mean, so with that in play, that's more where I'm coming from. Where I'm saying, is it worth the trouble? Because no brainer. I think a bit like the Galvin situation last year. Obviously, a lot of mess, quite intense. If you're going to end up with someone who's going to be your half for the next 15 years potentially, then probably worth the trouble.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't think this falls in that category. So it's a bit hard to follow. And every time that something like the match trip thing happens, it's just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. I don't see how this plays out. I don't see the Eels moving.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the Storm, we talk about maybe they're already pot committed. I know who's definitely pot committed. It's the Eels. Like, there's no way they're going to do all this hard work and then go, okay, for 300K, you can have him.
Yeah,
There's
they
no
can't.
way.
They can't roll over now.
They can't roll over now. That's what I mean. Like they would get hammered by their fans, and they've been like, they just deserve so much credit. Like, I just cannot believe we're talking about a guy that was pretty keen to leave the game, which is totally fine. Get your money, mate. Fuck, all good. Like, okay, yeah, I don't like this. As I've said from the beginning, the first breaking of contract, it's like, okay, fair enough. We're all young and it's fine. I'm sure there are things you could say the Dragons didn't work out from the Dragons' perspective as well. So, like, I'm okay with that. But then, like, 1 year into a new 4-year deal, it's like, geez, that's hard to swallow. Like, I don't agree with it. However, do I understand why he would do it with that much money on the line? Yeah, okay, that's fine too. Like, even I watched a stream actually with Terrell May, the Kurz brothers, I think it was the other night, and he was saying, like, he said, like, pretty much, of course I'd take the money, but I'd finish my contract first.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people do feel that way. As I said, first one I can be like, yep, we all learn, we live and we learn, break the contract, okay, fine. But then to basically, because like the only way, the really concerning thing about the Eels contract break is like for him to get a release in his first year means that at some point halfway-ish through the year, he was already looking to go somewhere else. And so anyway, so I can understand that. To a degree, I don't agree with it, but it's like, all right, okay, it's a lot of money, so all right, sweet, okay. But then for us as a game to be going through this to get this whole situation that we have to go through to get Zac Lomax back into the game, I just think like, geez, 6 months ago we had Blandy saying you're banned for 10 years if you even speak to them.
Yeah, even from the Melbourne Storm's point of view too, I'd love to know how far the conversation's got. So you've just made a grand final. Granted, you've lost a couple of players. Have they gone to Stefano and like the other boys, Howarth, and who was the third one?
I think they wanted Coates, but they're like, no.
There's no chance.
Have they gone to those three boys though, or maybe one of them or two of them? Have they gone to Howarth and gone, hey, what do you reckon? Because if they have, I'm sitting there. If I'm him, I'm going, fuck you. Like, we just made a grand final. I'm not moving for this guy. Like, even just the knock-on effect of that, like just the subtle things. If it eventuates to nothing, it's a massive play, and like, yeah, that's not going to do anything good for your club, especially if you can't sit there and go, well, at least we got him. Which I don't think personally, I don't think they're going to get there. So, yeah,
like if the Eels are literally going, we want a player no matter what. It's just like, I don't think they're going to get him because like if you're Coates, why would you? If you're any of those players, why would you go leave the Storm?
There's no way I'm leaving Melbourne if I'm any of those guys.
It'd be insane. So,
and you'd be offended if they asked, and you'd be a little bit off it, I reckon.
You'd be massively off it if they asked. You'd be like, we just made a GF, and those three players are some of our best players. Stefano was great. Coates, incredible. Howarth is a young gun coming through. They've been super patient with him as well. So, yeah, I get why they're trying to. I just think they've handled this incorrectly. And they're a club that usually handles things honestly. Like, for example, the situation with Josh Adokar when he wanted to release and they held him for a year, I was like, okay, like I respect that from the Storm. They've been very clear with him. Okay, you can leave a year early, but you've got to be here for another year until we can get someone else to sort it out. I was like, okay, that's a well-run club that's going to stand and be clear with things. But I think they've just mishandled this.
That's also reasonable, which I think the Storm are being unreasonable here, in my opinion. Like Parramatta saying we're happy for him to play if we get someone who's worth our while. That is a reasonable stance. The Josh Adokar one, when they said, no, you have to wait a year, that's reasonable.
That's reasonable, yeah. It's like, I get it.
Ideally, he probably moves straight up here.
Yeah.
But he obviously respected that. Maybe he was down there the whole year pissed off or a bit annoyed, like not ideal. But I think most people would look at that situation and go, the Storm's actually in the right there, or that's fair enough.
Dave Donaghy situation, like it's very pedantic. It's pedantic, but you know what? If they had enforced it, I would have been like, okay, he can't start for 6 months. The problem is now is they can never do that again. They can never ever any player wants to leave that club. The headlines are going. We already know what the headlines are going to be.
And the difference is, no matter how hard I try, like even with the Donaghy situation, I can look at it and I can get it and I can respect it.
100% get it. Yep.
No matter how I try and spin the thing, like what Matt Tripp said, how Melbourne have operated, I can't understand it as reasonable.
No.
I just can't come to that conclusion. So
I just think they should have, at the very least, if you want to go to court, sweet. At the very least, they should have just stayed quiet, in my opinion. Not said a word on it. Complete blanket ban on the conversation. Because now it's just, it really has. that conversation, with I think it was Code Sports he did it with or whatever, Daily Telegraph.
Yeah, with Brent Reed from Code Sports.
Like,
Reedy.
geez, if you've got a young gun at the Storm that's not getting a crack or it's not working, you just take this interview straight in and go, boys,
Oh,
what's this?
bring on round one.
Oh, yeah, it's great drama. I tell you what, ratings, baby.
I was saying before you came in, like for the Eels' sake, I don't want him to go to Melbourne unless they get something in return. But what I do want to see is if he does go there, I want to see him play round one.
Well, if you're looking at it purely from a selfish consumer perspective, let's say you take out all the moral or the ethics or whatever. Of course you want that game. That'd be friggin' hype as.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of whether you believe that trumps all the other stuff.
I think though, even without the way I see it playing out, round one, Zach's not playing for either of them. Obviously, I still think it's going to be a massive game in terms of
bloody
it's
oath.
going to be a lot of malice.
They already have a bit of a rivalry, because of everything that's happened in the past. This will not be forgotten.
No
this
way.
will not be for a long time. And I just applaud the Eels. I applaud them. I did like the Raiders CEO just cutting straight to it. This is absolute bullshit. No one has spoken about him. He's never been mentioned. I will say, in the Eels lawyer's defence, he actually did say, and maybe the article says more, there was contact between Lomax's lawyer and 3 different clubs. That might have just been to some random at the club in non-official capacity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just Donny Ferner getting in front of it.
But I love it. I love that. Great stuff from the Raiders CEO. I love that shit. Just coming out and going, boom. Because similar-ish to the comments around separating yourself from this, that's what the Raiders have done. They've gone, we don't want to be anywhere near this shit. And I think that him being this forceful with his words and clear, that's a good play from the CEO. That's a really good play because now that completely wipes out any connection of Raiders and Lomax. Because that's the last thing you want as a club right now is to be connected to this situation.
There's something about a CEO saying the word bullshit as well that just carries so much weight. You know what I mean? If I told you it's bullshit, you'd be like, yeah, whatever.
I love Donny Ferner. I think he's got a big role in the game. Obviously, I mean, just with these little drives, didn't he blast the draw because it favours the Broncos a few months ago?
It. And then the back and forth between the bus going into the Canberra Stadium against the Broncos last year. Look, I love what the Raiders are doing. I'm such a fan of the whole setup. And I probably disagree with Ricky Stewart in his press conferences more than I agree with him. I still love him. I still love it. You know what I mean? You can disagree with someone and still be like, man, he's a legend. I'd love him at my club kind of stuff.
He's the number one coach I'm tuning into after a game.
Yeah, 100%. I just think that's really good leadership from the Raiders. We don't want a bar of this. Don't drag us into this stuff. The problem is, that's what subpoenas do. That's what subpoenas do.
And that would be interesting because
you're going to find a few more clubs, I reckon, that.
Well, if Ferner's come out really hard and gone bullshit, no way.
There's no trail.
All these fucking emails come out.
I doubt it. He would have checked all that. He's too smart of an operator.
Yeah. No, I'm sure he is.
But I reckon if there's subpoenas, I think because what will happen is the manager will get subpoenaed. I think we're all going to be shocked at some of the conversations that have been had, and I think there's a lot of clubs out there going, "Fuck, stop this fucking court case," because if we're being fair dinkum, and you take out, whether you how much weight you hold of the breaking of contract with Zac Lomax, there's plenty of clubs that would have just been like, what's the go? What's going on with Lomax? Is he open to coming to this club? But the problem is it's a discreet inquiry. You don't want it to be official because then, as we've spoken about if you were asked to leave the Storm in replacement for Zac Lomax, similar to that, if you're at a club and you found out through these subpoenaed emails and you're an outside back coming through and then you found out that your club's been pursuing Zac Lomax, you'd be like, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, and also all these people that come out and go, oh, contracts aren't worth anything, blah, blah, blah. It's only because most of the time people get away with bullshit like this. And I think every time that something like this happens, it reinforces the idea that, if you sign something, follow through.
Yeah.
Or at least really consider that's what you're agreeing to. Because I think, I hate that. I read an article this morning that was talking about the Lomax situation, talking about, is it really worth what it used to be? And it's you can't fucking come from that argument because...
Yeah, I get... As I said, even, in other situations, I get that initial one of a breaking contract. You know what I mean? You're young, things can change, clubs can treat you poorly. I think the difference with the Lomax one, where you can't really compare it, is just how quickly this has all happened.
Yeah.
Like
Back
this
to
is
back.
Not, this is not the same as all this other stuff. Like you could even, I know people try to refer it to the Lockie Garvin situation. They're not the same. Like they're not the same. Like, yes, obviously, the Garvin went in, said, "I'm not taking any offers from you. I'm going to be moving on," and then whoever you want to blame in that situation, fair enough. But are we all really sitting here saying the Bulldogs would have put the Bulldogs, not the management, the Bulldogs would have put so much pressure on the situation that we'd be in court right now? I don't know. Like, for example, when Zac Lomax wanted to leave the Dragons and he came to the Eels, do you reckon the Eels would have gone so far as to be in court right now? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, granted, if you want to talk about, all the allegations in regards to how Galvin was treated, like that's not from a club though. That was his internal team, whatever.
His team, yeah.
That's a different conversation to be had.
Just a question, and forgive my lack of legal knowledge, but since Para are the ones that brought Melbourne to court, if that happened...
Melbourne haven't been brought to court. Zac Lomax
have been brought to
and
court.
his management have been brought to court.
Okay, so in that case, once that happened, the Storm could have been stepped away?
Absolutely. Like the Storm, even now, Storm have there's no legal entanglement, at least to my understanding.
It's about to get to that. So
Yeah, because
the further this goes,
what could happen is when they get subpoenaed and there's evidence of, let's say they did lodge a contract on late December or January, and the Eels go, he didn't come to us before that. You're in breach of your contract right now. Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, the Storm are aware, and then they will get dragged in. But right now, the Storm could walk away with no. I'm assuming pretty much with no. In saying that, when a subpoena happens, you probably still would get the emails that have happened.
I mean,
That's
they certainly haven't backed down anyway, but I'm just wondering if
the owner
their hands
is
were tied a
still
little
quoted
bit.
saying
he's coming on the front foot.
he's on
no,
the
that
front
was
foot.
crazy, yeah.
He's saying Eels are being unfair. Give us Lomax right now.
Yeah, no, it's madness. It's madness. And again, I applaud the Eels.
That's another crazy thing I was thinking about as well. Is like the fact that the owner came out and he's still going, give us him right now after the Eels have said no.
Crazy that hasn't worked, by the way, Matt Tripp. Crazy.
But look, as I said, I'm a massive fan of the Storm, and like I disagree with what Matt Tripp is saying, but like if you're talking about what his role is, it is to get the best players to the club, essentially, I guess any way you can within reason. So I guess I don't agree with it, but I can understand what his main priority is right now.
Yeah, so I just think he's missed the mark though. Like, don't bring in Jonah to it. Like, that's just not. It's the worst take. It is the worst take.
I
in terms
disagree
of
with the whole thing. I disagree with the whole thing. Yeah.
So
I'm
even if
trying
he
to look at
was-
it from a perspective of like, his role is not to care about what we all think about.
Of course not. And
His role
he
is
obviously
just to get
doesn't.
the best players to the club possible, and however he does that within reason is to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you, mate. I disagree with everything in that.
And I think what he's done has actually had the complete reverse effect.
It would have been better to stay quiet. The Storm would have been better to
absolutely.
just be completely silent. Completely
100%.
silent. Because then, the reason, like, in that situation you stay silent is you give yourself wiggle room in the future to kind of repaint history a little bit. Like, let's say they don't get him, and we're a year down the track, and and then you have an interview about it. Say, oh no, we never put any pressure. We put our offer in, and then Zac Lomax was just really keen to come. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden,
that makes sense.
That makes sense. Okay. So you guys were kind of a bit unfairly maligned. Like, we were all sitting here saying you were putting pressure on it, but clearly you weren't. You've just come out a year later and said you haven't. We're coming out with this. It's like, no, this is basically openly admitting they're putting pressure on it. So yeah, that situation. It's drama. It's rugby league, baby. It's rugby league.
It's back.
It's drama.
And it's not ending anytime soon, I don't believe.
No.
I don't think
We'll
so.
probably be here next week talking about it again, to be honest.
We'll try. What I will say is we'll try as hard as we can. Unless there's updates or whatever, we'll probably just try to leave it.
Yeah.
Like the human side, I know I'm going to sound like a bit of a softie here. Like,
You're Metro Bart, so it's fine.
I'm metrosexual. Yeah, I'm metrosexual. Well, metro, like new age metro. Like, I just wish Lomax wasn't in this situation. Like, I know he created it himself or whatever, but he's such a gun. I want him back in the game. I want Lomax playing. Like, we are a better game with him in it. It just...
Yeah, we all agree on that.
I think everyone would agree that, we'd rather see him playing. It's just how it's all happened. It's not great. It's not great.
It's a shame more than anything. Like, it's just disappointing.
Okay, Titans Tino has waived his clauses and will remain at the Titans till the end of 2030. And then another huge signing drop. I can't believe this. Cooper Byer signed a 2-year extension. They now also have Campbell to 2031, Kinney 2030, Brimson 2030, Firma 2029. Like, look, I'm not going to say it's the greatest month or 2 months in Titans history, but like, fuck. When you compare of like, they were on the canvas 4 months ago.
I think it's, I mean, if you add in, so Matty Johns joins, Gordon Tallis joins, then they re-signed Tino, they re-signed Cooper Byer, they re-signed Campbell, they re-signed Kinney.
Well, I'm going back to like when they started and they got like all the guns like Preston Campbell, Scotty Prince to the club.
Brad Myers. And the rest of them.
Mark Minicello. Like, they were pretty bloody good in the early days.
They made a prelim in their
so good.
fourth year?
Yeah, yeah.
2010.
So like,
Yeah.
but, you know, all things considered, like, what a turnaround in such a short time. Like, it has been, like, I cannot, listen, I would have gone, okay, let's say Tino goes, okay, I'll stay till 2028 or something. I'd go, all right, yeah, that's pretty good. But going, nah. Basically, Tino's saying publicly, I'm in for my career. Like,
Yeah.
I am in for my whole career and I'm here. I'm basically going to spend my entire career trying to win a premiership with this club.
Huge week for Matt Rogers. Huge week for Matt
Mate,
Rogers.
huge win for Rodgers. He's convinced that he put pressure on them. They both signed.
He hasn't been home since the news came out, I reckon.
The rat. Yeah, so like, look, I spoke a little bit about this on the season preview that will come out Monday, and I understand he's already in $1 million, so it's like, come on, mate, he's on $1 million. It's not necessarily like showing loyalty in the sense he's taking no money for what he's doing, but it's all relative. So he could get $1 million essentially at any club. I think essentially any club would pay $1 million for Tino.
Yeah, his market value is $1 million.
Yeah.
Easily.
So like for him to stay essentially his whole career at the Titans, like that is loyalty. That's loyalty. No, it's not the same loyalty as like, you got no house and you got no money, but you give your shirt off your back to someone else because he's your mate. Like, it's a little bit different. However, it still is loyalty.
Yeah, relative to the situation.
Yeah, relative to the
loyal.
situation, it is still loyalty. And I think, we've just sat here for 30 minutes talking about, all the negatives in regards to players and clubs and everything like this. This is one of those moments where I really do hope the wider community appreciates. How much do we sit here demanding in comment sections, old school and be old school and traditional and show loyalty and remember where you came from and all that kind of stuff. And we've got a gun player doing it with a team that like there is really no evidence, or not. There might be now because they've brought all these people on board. But since professional sport has been on the Gold Coast, they've never won a competition. This guy's going to commit his entire career to winning the first competition for a Gold Coast side.
Imagine the legacy. Yeah, I think too. It speaks to how much they've brought in a Hane in his first little stint at the club, and also Cooper re-signing as well. Like if he had an offer on the table from Melbourne,
let's just put it this way: he was heavily chased by the Roosters.
Yep. Okay.
And
so
other teams that are top tier.
Well, there you go. So normally, even the way we were speaking about it, say last week, where the vibe was, fuck, hopefully they keep one of them.
Yeah.
Like, that was sort of the vibe. It's like, well, it's either one or the other because one of them's probably going to leave.
Yep.
So to actually just secure both is
In 2 days.
so exciting. Yeah, literally.
And I was just speaking to Matthew, also known as Matty Johns.
Oh, MJ. Yeah.
And he said that they had a list of some of the young guys coming through that they wanted to re-sign. Like at the stuck that this is ideal. If we get all these boys, we'll be super happy. They've essentially signed nearly all of them, which is like, again, you've got to remember like the Gold Coast Titans at the end of last year was disaster areas, true disaster areas. I mean, they came 15th or 16th.
They came second last.
16th. So incredible get. It seems like there is something exciting happening up there. I don't want to, jump the gun. I've been excited before. Obviously, it's not going to happen this year. But if they can just sort their defence out, maybe they sit mid-table this year.
See, that's the difference. I have been excited for the Titans for a particular season. Like, you're the same. We're all the same. But it's not about that this time. It's a bit different this time. I'm excited for the Titans over the next 5 years.
Yeah, the future.
Yeah.
And it's based on substance. Like even when last time they played finals in 21, when we just held on against them. Yeah. Past the ball gate. But we like even at that point in time, they played finals. There was whispers about Fafita. Like, it wasn't like you were like looking at them saying they're building something really special here.
Yeah, agreed.
This is probably the first time ever. Even when you were saying when they started initially in 2010, they had some success, made that prelim again against us, and came off second best. But it was a lot of old guys towards the back end of their career doing good things and wrapping up.
When you say us, you're talking about the Roosters, say.
Chuggies.
Why does it say on your jerseys we're here to win premierships?
Why does it say that?
Yeah, like your current jersey.
Just to make it very clear.
But currently?
Yeah.
It should say we're here to make one prelim in 6 years.
You could say that based on we're a futuristic club, Matty. We're always looking forward, mate. Always looking forward.
So that's what I was kind of alluding to. Like, are you really in the premiership business the last few years?
Always in the premiership business, mate. You know that. You know that.
Or are you going out of business? Because
Hey, okay, you guys have had one in what 16 years or something.
you're only good as your last game, mate. Only good as your last game.
Unfortunately, there's only one winner in that conversation, and it's you. So that's fine. But look, I'm okay with only seeing 3 premierships thus far, back to back.
Yeah.
You guys might do it this year if you're lucky.
But like, you guys have essentially doubled the salary cap, so like there is that part.
There is that, but that's your problem. You're half the Queensland Origin team, so whatever.
Not anymore. We used to back in the day. Now we're just battlers, mate. Got a few Origin players here or there.
Fair
like
few
a
floating
battler.
about.
Payne Hussey's a battler.
Yeah, he's a battler.
Carrigan, battler.
Yeah,
Reece Walsh,
Carrigan's
massive
okay.
battler.
He's okay. I mean, Payne Haas, one of the great players, New South Welshman, good stock. But yeah, I think we will go close this year, the Roosters.
Yeah, okay.
I do as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
We say that every year, but I do think if we can find that balance. I mean, I sound like every Roosters fan over the last 20 years. But
Who's won more premierships since year 2000? Broncos or Roosters?
We'll go through it. So Broncos 2000,
2000,
Roosters 2002, and then Broncos
equal?
2006.
no, he's a one.
Nah, Roosters.
Oh no, 3 and 3. 02, 18, 19, and then you've got 2000, 2006, and then last
Yeah, it's
year.
even. It's 3 all.
3 and 3.
No, you forgot about 13.
Oh, sorry, we win.
Yeah. Okay. You
4-3.
win. Yeah. Okay.
You might win this
we've
year.
never cheated the salary cap. We
Allegedly.
we stay between the rules.
That's allegedly.
That early 2000s team, they'll definitely on the salary cut then.
Come on, boys. No evidence.
We've also never had the premierships chat on our jersey before, so that's exciting for me. We've obviously
Is that the first year you've had we're in the business of premierships? What does it say? We play for premierships. Yeah, we play for premierships.
play for premierships.
Is that the first year you've had that on your jersey?
I believe I've never noticed it. Like last time they lifted the shield.
That.
I think it is the first. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, so I think it's almost like they're just saying, "Hey, like we've had a few years off.
Uh-oh.
Here we come."
That could be curse areas though too.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm confident.
We'll see.
I want Gussie Crit to be sent out a winner again. So
Gussie Crit.
that's what I call
Gussie
him.
Crit.
That's what I call him, Gussie Crit.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about
that's
now?
good.
Gussie Crit.
My boy AC
It's
Flow.
so unnecessary. Just call him Gus cunt.
Gussie Crit. That's what I call him. Because there's a few Gusses that I'm close personal friends with. Can be Gus
okay.
Gould, Gus Crichton, a few others. Not important. But yeah, Gussie Crit. I want to see him go out a winner. What do you mean? What do you mean? I want to see him go out a winner.
Oh fuck. Gussie Crit. That is fucked.
He's my boy.
If you don't make the 8, what happens?
I probably take over as coach.
Okay.
Outside of that, though, I don't know. I think there would be mass changes.
I was going to say, there'd be riots, but you guys don't give a shit enough to riot.
Nah, I
And
care.
there'd be about 10 people there.
I care. I don't care that much.
Is it right if there's 10 people there?
I'll just send League in. It'd be fuming. It'd be fuming. I'd be fuming from a distance. You know what I mean? Like I'd be watching.
okay.
I'd be watching Netflix, going, "Oh yeah, I wish we made the 8," but I wouldn't be at the protest. But I don't think we'll have to worry about that. To be fair,
Okay, you don't have to worry about it. What would you do, honestly? Would you reckon there would be changes up top if you did make the 8 this year?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know about like if it would be Robbo that would be the change, but yeah. At what point do you draw a line in the sand?
Okay.
But then again, I don't know. I always go on about this. Like you see clubs that sack coaches. Like who are you sacking them for?
Yeah.
Like how many examples can you name in the last 20 years where a team has sacked a coach for someone who's clearly better?
When's Craig Fitzgibbon off contract?
check that.
Ooh,
Makes you tell you, doesn't it?
that
Yeah,
would
it'd tell you
be that would be interesting.
See, he seems like a guy he's going to be all in at Cronulla.
Yeah, I think so too. But,
Yeah.
if I'm the Roosters,
Where I want to know where Fitzy's living. If he's living down the Shire, he's probably all in. If he's still commuting down from our way, maybe,
Yeah, okay.
maybe we bring him back.
27. End of 27.
He'll get offered an extension there.
Yeah, I mean, they
should,
should
yeah.
already extend him, to be honest.
Yeah.
What
Life-
he's done at the Sharks is incredible.
Have you heard the yarn about him rolling on jiu-jitsu mats
Yeah, an
on
hour
game
before
day?
the game because he doesn't want to send them out without, he feels guilty.
He wants to feel the hurt
Do you roll an hour before training when you coach?
when I can. Yeah. Normally it's just me, like not with an opponent, so a bit different.
A bit of like Tai Chi or something like that.
Undefeated
In the park kind of stuff.
in the park. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Don't mind that. Anyway, we were talking about Titans. Yeah, so look, great stuff in the Titans. Great
How
stuff.
did we get onto that?
I don't know.
Well, I think we're talking
Tai Chi.
about maybe Tino going to the club or something like that. Anyway.
Whatever.
Always time to talk about the Roosters.
UNRL rules. Look, I'm just glad they didn't do the kickoff one.
Yeah.
The bench, I think, is going to change so much about the game. I think people are underestimating the impact that's going to have. Because you really will choose differently how you do the game.
Just with the kickoff, I want to know why the coaches are so vocal about wanting to change it. Like Wayne Bennett is all over the news today.
Well, no, the coaches are against it. It's only Wayne Bennett that's keen.
I think I read that like 9 coaches wanted it.
Oh, well, I thought they got majority voted against. Maybe read the
square
article. I thought
find the article.
I thought the article was like, no, the coaches and clubs were all essentially against it, except for a few.
Yeah, all the like clubs that struggled last year, I imagine, would have been saying, yeah, maybe.
I just think, like, why do
We've
we
spoken about why that's illogical anyway. I mean, it wouldn't make any difference.
Yeah,
You just bury him in their corner regardless.
yeah. And look, the only difference is obviously we've spoken about it, but the 20-meter thing, get 6 again, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I like the idea of if there's a knock on in goal, there's not a 7 tackle set.
Yeah, I like that.
That's it. I mean, it's a little rule, but that makes sense to me. Like you want people trying to attack, score tries without that being the penalty. And then also the other thing with the bench, nightmare to be a New South Wales Cup coach now.
Oh, absolutely not.
How do you plan for, like, say, like a Fluff Savala? Are you planning that he's gonna play?
Also known as Hugo Savala. Like,
Sorry, yeah, if you're not close personal friends, it's Hugo Savala.
Yeah.
But how are you gonna plan for that?
yeah.
Like, are you going into your week as a cup coach going, he'll be our half, and then
Yep.
you adjust if you need to?
And to be clear, guys, like, Cup is essentially always just waiting on what the NRL at any point, a team just goes, this is what we're doing, deal with it.
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
and that's already the case.
Yeah.
So you throw in the fact now that you're going to have a half sitting on the bench where he's a genuine chance of playing.
Yeah.
And if he does, like, I saw an article today about it, it's going to be hard to back up, or it's going to get harder to back up. That would just be so hard to plan for.
Yeah, absolutely. And like also, even as a first grade coach, like, do you pull your young half out, sit him on the bench for 6 weeks in a row, then he's not getting reps under his belt, his fitness won't be there, his timing won't be there. Okay, then do you put a rookie there, but then there's an injury? Like, I think it's going to be, the impact's going to be hectic, I reckon. And also to do it this close to the season, give them like no time to think about it, no testing of it or anything.
Do you think the coaches would have known earlier? Do you think like the clubs would have known earlier, or no? You think it's just come out for all of
Not
us?
that much earlier, really. Oh, maybe a week. What do you got there, Matty?
So 6 coaches voted for it, 11 against it, so it was majority. But the 6 that voted were the big dogs: Wayne Bennett, Ivan Cleary, Ricky Stewart, Bellamy, and Trent Robinson. So that's why I'm trying to say, like, why do they, like, what's their reasoning for wanting the rule to change?
Probably just to be able to bury a team in their own corner.
Yeah, probably
more
better
often.
bury a team in their corner. Like, giving the better teams more option will make them probably better.
Yeah, like, I mean, imagine you're up against like a shit club, you get up 6-0 quick. Respectfully, obviously saying shit club, like I'm sure you're a great club. But then they do a short kick off to try and get some momentum back or something, and it goes wrong, or they choose to receive and it's like, yes, sweet, we'll just kick long, bury in the corner again, make you work out of your own. And like, it's a win-win for the good clubs.
Yeah, I don't. If you don't have the energy and the muscle to defend the set after they've just scored, how are you going to have the energy and muscle to break out of your own end when they've just scored?
Yeah, it's a complete distraction of like, it actually is just such a non-event to like good defensive side. Like,
Again, the only thing I can think of, let's just say the timing of the 20 instead of the 40 is super interesting that they tried to put those two rules through at the same time. Because that just suggests to me that, let's just say there'll be a subconscious feel of like, okay, this team's under the pump. Like, okay, put it this way. Let's say you get scored against, you ask to get the ball kicked off to you. If I'm a team trying to hold you in your own end, I'm going to be shooting off the line. If you're shooting up off the line, higher chances of getting a 6 again against you.
Yeah, and I think there's already a lack of transparency around accountability with the 6 agains, obviously. I mean, we don't know as fans. Maybe they are going through every single one with the referees.
But still, even as fans, you just don't know what to get. I mean, I just think the biggest tell of the subconscious kind of mindset, I guess, and when I say subconscious, it's not intentional, but just game 2 of the last 2 Origins.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's glaringly obvious that there is like almost a sense of I don't even know.
Such a smart rule, the 6 again too, from an NRL point of view, because by the time you start blowing up, play's still moving.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
with
done.
a penalty, play stops, they're kicking for touch. You can
Replays.
sit there as a fan and go, "Oh, what was that for?" And then like keep going. Whereas you have your "what was that for" moment, and then it's like play keeps moving, so you forget about it pretty quick.
And I want to be clear, like, I like the 6 again rule because it got rid of a lot of the wrestle. Like, it changed the game for good. But I just felt at least the last couple of years, I felt like we got in such a good spot.
Oh,
The game was in such a good spot. And maybe it'll stay in that spot, but I just don't know why we needed to change all this stuff.
I would have gone the other way. Like, I would have made less 6 agains, not more.
Yeah, because 2021, obviously, you had it was
too
like
much.
a
That's
triathlon
crazy. Yeah.
It's too much. It's just
and
yuck.
blowouts. But then like we found such a happy medium over the last few years, where it's not just a wrestle fest. It's not just constant tries and just touch football. I don't see why and I think that's what's made Volandis and Abdo so good at their job too, is that they are always looking for ways to innovate.
Like, the last 3 years, we've had arguably 2 of the greatest grand finals you've ever seen.
I know. Yeah.
So it's just like, fuck, 2 out of 3? And then what was the other one? Penrith.
Melbourne was a bit boring. But
That's boring, but that's
but it was
more
a different
the style
kind
of
of
play.
rugby league purists would have frothed that
Exactly,
game.
Yeah, it's a grind fest because that's the type of footy player teams they are.
And that speaks to, we've found that spot. You look at the last 2 years, like the Broncos Storm game, you wouldn't look at it like it was a tough game. It wasn't a grind fest. There was still tries scored, line breaks through the middle, and
it was a
whatever.
mad game.
Great game.
Common denominator is obviously Broncos.
Yeah, complete. Well, actually, it would be Melbourne. 2024 game, absolute grind
No,
fest.
in the great grand finals, common denominator is
Oh,
Broncos.
okay. Yeah, you guys have had a fair few good grand finals.
It's just that's quite we get entertained.
Bit of time between them, but that's fine. But look, I think that 2024 completely opposite game, and you know, people still frothed it. Wasn't a heap of tries, wasn't a heap of moments, but it was just a defensive battle. So it's good that you're in a position that you can get both. Like, don't fuck with the game, guys. Like,
Alrighty, all this brought to you by Ashley Mazda. Buy any CX 3 or CX5 from Ashley Mazda X rental sale, and one lucky person will be gifted a truly unique experience a day at the footy in a corporate suite with ex-NRL players Alex Glenn, Drell and myself, hosted by Luke Camilleri, the Carman. 2024 CX5 G20 max is 321844. Sorry, 32844. But didn't he discount? Is this a discounted prices? Discounted.
I've got it. So the CX3S is 26,500 and the CX5S is 31,500.
Wow. There you go. There you go. Also, don't forget Code Sports, $49 for the year. Go to codesports.com.au/bloke. And Lontel Internet, the best in all the land. We've got Lontel. I go home every day, got the best. It's friggin' sickest internet ever. I haven't had any dramas, but if you have dramas, you call them, boom, they take care of you. Lontel.net.au/bloke. Get $25 credit, 7 days free trial, no contracts, no credit card. Give it a try, see how you go, and then go from there. Massive thank you to Lontel for supporting the platform. Boys, New Zealand Origin, 2027. Thoughts?
game 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have thought that they would have gone after game 1 to get it over there. I think it's good we're going over there. I think it's exciting, but like probably would have made, like, it'll be interesting if it's it's obviously going to potentially be a deciding game for the series, or it will be, to have it over there. I thought game 1, given you're guaranteed another game with an outcome, would have been optimal. But yeah, I think it's good to go over there, probably around a good time.
Yeah, I mean, game 2 has historically been, or certainly in recent years, has been the neutral ground, so it does make sense. But I see your point. Like,
You know what I mean? But even that, like when they've had it in Perth and other neutral grounds, it is interesting when you do it game 1 when it doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
as opposed to going in.
and game 1, TV ratings wise, is usually the biggest. So it usually is the most hype for it. So I like that. I've always loved that it's in a neutral ground. It makes no sense to me that 2 are at Queensland, 1 at New South Wales, and vice versa.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I like it. New Zealand deserve it. So
Yeah, if you had asked me a few years ago, I'd have been like, come on, it's state of origin. It's an Australian thing. I've absolutely come around, though. I think that not all the time, but it's the crown in our jewel. It's the jewel in our crown. And if we want to continue to grow the game, like going to New Zealand, and think of all the young kids that get to experience that and just go, holy, like, I'm not sitting here saying it's as good as a World Cup All Blacks game, but it's much better than a normal NRL game. And so you've got some young gun, he's 13 years old or 12 years old, he's a freak, he loves the All Blacks, but he goes to the State of Origin game and goes, oh, wow. Now, I know, like, as a Kiwi, he doesn't get an opportunity, but it's still a connection to the game. It's still a connection to rugby league. So yeah, I think that initially the traditionalist in me was like, keep it in Australia, but now I'm like, nah, we've got to grow the game. We've got to continue to grow the game. So I like it. I do agree with your point. Should be game 1 rather than game 2. It being a decider, like potentially, I don't like that necessarily, just because, I don't know, I feel like if there is one bit where I'm still hanging on to the traditionalist in me, it is like a decider should be in Australia. Like, that's the traditional part of me.
I love what you just said then, though. I think we underestimate a lot. Obviously, going over to Vegas last few years and talking about trying to capture that new market. New Zealand, often in rugby league, we talk about it as an existing market, which it kind of is, but there's so much more to capture there from the rugby union schools and the rugby union fan base. So I think in that sense, it's a really, really good move from the NRL to do it, because I think, you know, we've all often floated the idea of having a second side over there. But there's still so much more. Like, there'd be a lot of kids over there who are still a little bit ignorant to what rugby league is, and it's the perfect way to sort of bring them in where, I think we're going to see a massive return on.
I think as well, like, you're getting, obviously the All Blacks will never go anywhere. It's the All Blacks. But you're getting union when it's obviously it's a World Cup year, but let's just say local union, it's not necessarily that strong right now. You know, it's not like it's the bastion of, like, if you had to go on 20 years ago, you almost like bounce off the local community. Whereas at the moment, like rugby union locally, like Super Rugby in Australia and all that, like it's nowhere near as well funded and secure as it used to be. So you're almost coming in at a relatively good time. I know it's a World Cup year, so that doesn't help. But if you're going to jag a couple of guys that are younger, that are like, you know what, there's only 5 places per squad in New Zealand that I can go and play professional rugby. However, in NRL, if I keep pursuing it, I can move to Australia, and there's all these different clubs and all these different pathways. You know, who knows?
It says a lot too that in a World Cup year, New Zealand were willing to pay pretty significant money for an Origin.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
True. All right, let's preview quickly before we wrap up, guys. Let's just have a chat about the trial. So Cowboys versus Bulldogs. Some guys to look at. Mason Barber for me to look at this trial this weekend. I cannot wait to see him play. Granted, he's behind Scott Drinkwater. It's going to be very hard for him with Purdue and Drinkwater at the club to get an opportunity. However, who knows? Like, if Purdue stays at 6 and Drinky gets injured, Mason Barber might be the next up. But he's a guy to watch for me. I think probably the biggest watch, though, is just Jackson Purdue in the 6 role.
Yep.
It's season defining. It really... Obviously, the defence is the main focus for the Cowboys. However, if he doesn't click at 6, I just don't see them doing anything really this year if he doesn't click at 6.
And it makes sense, like, given he's off contract, clearly that's where he wants to play, or at least he wants to play in the spine. Like, if he was contracted for another few years and there was no real risk of him leaving, I would have, and I initially was, team, just leave him at centre for another year.
Yeah, same.
But now that this has happened, I'm glad he's at 6, and I'm very, very excited to see what happens because he's a freak.
You got to keep him. You got it. Like, if he's
move heaven and earth to keep him.
Like, seriously, you'd almost go as far as putting him at friggin' 7 for a 12-month period. If let's say you had Dearden locked up for a long-term deal, and Purdue was like, I want to play 7, just to get him to sign the long-term contract. That's how much you need to keep a guy like Purdue at the club.
Yeah, there's already a lot of stuff going on at the moment too. I think if he comes out and he kills it this week, it takes a lot of pressure off and
Massive pressure because he's just such a key part of their roster.
100%.
Bloody gun too. Fuck, man. When he was playing centre last year, holy shit.
Good to see Helam Lukey back as well.
Absolutely.
I just hope he can
gun.
finish the year.
Absolute gun. Hopefully he kills it because that's more depth for the Queensland forward pack. Which
you need it. So.
Yeah.
Tino, Flegler's back now too.
That's such bullshit. I'm so happy he's back for his sake.
Yeah. I didn't have to think about it for 2 years for Origin.
Yeah.
But again, it's all a joke. Glad he's back.
Stoked he's back for his sake, obviously.
Okay, for the doggies. Interestingly, relatively, essentially fringe first graders playing in this game. And so, I guess, are they going to probably have a hit out? They'd have a rest next week, wouldn't they, before they head out to Vegas?
Yeah, they
So
wouldn't be
dogs
playing.
are essentially going into this without a proper hit out in first grade. So I know they do their scrimmages and that.
Oh, look at what happened last year. Just give me a moment.
Well, I think so. If you look at, I think a lot of these other teams are playing pretty much first grade teams.
So last year, the Raiders and the Sharks both went to Vegas, right? And they played their full teams in the second week of preseason. So the
So they
doggies
got another week.
So the doggies are playing next week.
Oh, apologies.
According to what happened last year. I'm not sure when they're going, but if that's anything to go by, they'll play their team next week.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and actually, you know what? I'm looking at this. It's the Knights that are almost full strength. Almost full strength, not full strength. But yeah, okay, so they got another week. Okay, fair enough. Okay, some other guys to look at. I mean, for the Bulldogs, really interested to see Jordan Chan Kum Tong because he is really the only out and out 9 at the club. Now Bailey Hayward did a bloody good job. I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to get his job tomorrow, but let's say I don't know. Bailey Hayward suits. He'll always stay in that first 13 or first 17 because he's so good and I like him as a utility or a 13. But let's just say at 9 he struggles a little bit. Who knows? Chan Kum Tong could be the next guy up for him. I know Turpin's there as well, but Chan Kum Tong he's still relatively young as a 9. So
yeah, he's interesting, especially because he's come from a team that isn't exactly like full of hookers.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he has been there or thereabouts for the last few years. So he's a big watch.
He had massive raps on him coming through. So yeah, he's an interesting one to watch. New club, like from the outside looking in, looks like a strong environment at the moment. So yeah,
Lipoi Hopoi, he's another guy to watch. Okay, to the Knights. I mean, it's Trey Mooney watch, isn't it? Yep. It really is the Trey Mooney watch because he's going to be the core of that forward pack. You could say Jermaine McQueen as well, but I'm focusing in on Sandon Smith at 7, obviously, to see how he goes, but also Trey Mooney. That's the key watch. But we'll see how their spine works out. The problem is that no matter how well Sandon Smith goes, the next trial they have, they're going to have to fit in Dylan Brown somewhere. Yep. So he could kill it. Yeah, but they may still want to keep Fletcher Sharp at 6 no matter what. So
the halves one's an interesting one though, because I think do they have to play Brown at 7 by default based on how big his price tag is? Like,
surely not. I think the more pressure is they want to play Sharp in the halves. I think that's putting more pressure on it because like in reality, I would be putting Fletcher or Sharp on the wing. Just say, mate, I just need you to bide 1 year. Kalen Ponga. He's been injured, so there's a chance that you could play a lot of fullback this year, which I think is his best position. I just don't know why you would move Brown from 6 to 7, Sandon Smith from 7 to 9, Sharp from wing to 6, just to accommodate a young guy who's bloody good and was great last year. There's no denying that at all. But it's just like there's so many people playing out of position to accommodate a young guy that was good, but it's not Nathan Cleary or like Cooper Cronk at this stage of their career or whatever. I know Cooper Cronk take a while to kind of blossom.
But you've also got Phoenix there too, who's like a
he'll have to move to 13.
That's what I'm saying. So you're moving a guy though who he plays for his country in that position. I don't know. I think it makes, given that KP does get injured and even like, if he was to end up playing 14 in Origin or something, or if something happened to Reece and he played fullback, like there's a good chance that he won't be there at different points this year just based on form.
Yep.
It would make sense to have Fletcher in the outside backs and then you can slot him in there without having to stuff around your halves too much.
Yep.
But
now in regards to the Dragons, look, I know he'd probably be really young, but interested to see Cade Reed because like we've done the preview and a bit of a spoiler alert. That's the depth of the halves of the Dragons is a bit of a question for me. If one of them goes down, they really are, it's going to be tough. So this Cade Reed guy, I haven't watched him play yet. It's going to be interesting to see him play. But the Couchman brothers, Halangahu, those 3 boys, so Toby Couchman, Ryan Couchman, and Halangahu, really keen to see them play because they are essentially, in 4 or 5 years, we could be looking at that lineup starting for the club. So you're looking at the future right there.
Yeah, there's definitely like this game is going to be interesting. Like they're not full strength, but those are 2 bloody good 4-packs going to each other as the first trial week of the year.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So good to see those young boys back. The Dragons, like I'm not sure about them this year, but with those young forwards, another year after this year, then they get key on. 2027 is going to be an interesting one.
Alrighty, that is us done and doosted for the week. Thanks, Tommy Bomb, for joining us, mate. Give him a follow on Instagram, Tommy Jaeger. Anything else going on, boys? Anything else? Nothing?
Oh, not really.
No, just can't have the footy back.
Alrighty, done and dusted. As usual, we'll go fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.